Hi, I'm Sarah Floor, and welcome to yet another video. Duet Night Abyss has been out for a while, and I just want to give my thoughts on the game, the story, and everything else that comes to mind. This isn't going to be a scripted video. This is just going to be a talking head video. I'll have some B-roll in the background, so you can switch tabs and you can just listen. Anyway, so the first thing I want to talk about is the story. The story is really good. I was surprised at how good the story was. I kept myself in the dark about the game and its story, its lore, its characters, pretty much everything. And while the first part of the story was pretty sleepy, it did pick up, and I was pretty impressed. Especially because, unlike, say, Wuthering Waves and Honkai Star Rail, whose 1.0 stories were, I'd say they ended in a more bombastic way, the 1.0 story for Duet Night Abyss was a bit more somber instead. Instead of the playable characters coming together to fight some big giant monster or have this massive Avengers Assemble battle, it was very intimate and quiet. Not what I expected, but I did like it a lot. I do have my problems with the story, mainly with just how it's animated, how it's presented, and some of the voice acting. I played the game with the English dub, and I didn't play it with the Japanese or the Chinese dub. So I have no idea how those are, but they're probably a lot better than the English one. Not to say that the English dub is bad, some of the voice performances are really, really good. It's just that the direction could use a lot more work. Anyway, I want to talk about the characters a little bit. Well, the playable characters. Yeah, let's just focus on the playable characters. I do like the MC. He's pretty cool, pretty good in the story and in battle. I like how they're a bit of a sub DPS support. I'm not going to talk too much about the battle system because I'm not very good at it. But even not being very good at it, I can tell there's some issues with the battle system. Mainly, it does feel kind of clunky, if I have to admit, especially to Wuthering Waves. But Wuthering Waves, the developers Kuro Games, they had PGR to work on before Wuthering Waves, so they had a bit more experience with combat. I imagine the launch characters of PGR were incredibly clunky, and they probably don't play as well as the current characters that are coming out. Now, as for Duet Night Abyss's launch characters, I think my main problem with them is just that a lot of them just play the same. I think that has to do with the fact that they can use every weapon. There's no set weapon that they all have. I mean, they do have signature weapons and a preferred weapon type, but they can all use every weapon in the game. So some concessions have to be made. I don't know what they could do to make the combat of the characters feel more unique, but I would really like it if they at least try to do that, especially when it comes to like their basic attack change. I play on controller, so I play on an Xbox controller. So the Y button, yeah, the Y button. The Y button doesn't do anything in combat, at least not that I've noticed. So maybe they could use that unassigned button to add some unique flair to character attacks and skills. Maybe. Just a suggestion. Also, another thing is that the character roster seems to be incredibly imbalanced right now. The attack scaling DPS are all incredibly strong. Meanwhile, the HP scaling DPS, like Hellfire and what is her name? I can't remember her name right now. Not Berenica. Berenica is an attack scaler. But what was her name again? Whatever. I'll have her name on screen. And probably her picture. But she's also an HP scaler, and her damage is really, really bad. which is a shame because I like the character a lot. I just wish I remember her name right now. But yeah, there's a bit of issues with balance. Maybe since every character is free, they'll do something about the balance too. Maybe they'll release some balance patches or some updates as well. I know the game launched in a pretty rough state. I heard it's practically unplayable on mobile, and they have been fixing it bit by bit. I have been checking the patch notes too. On PC, at least in my experience, I've had a ton of issues, especially on controller. Like I mentioned before, I play with an Xbox controller. So the main issue that I do have is that sometimes the buttons just don't work, especially when going through the menus. I'll be mashing the start button and I just can't open the menu. I have to use my keyboard for that. Also sometimes the accept and the back buttons don't work at all. I have to use the keyboard for those too occasionally. Also, I had another glitch where the sound effects just don't work. I noticed that especially when I'm doing like commissions and stuff. But yeah, hopefully they get these issues ironed out because the game is really, really good and it has a lot of potential, but it is being held back by these issues and the clunkiness and the basicness of the combat. But another good thing the game has going for it is the commissions. They're really, really good. I like grinding them out, getting the thoughts for the characters I want to use. So yeah, that's really, really good too. Overall, Duet Night Abyss is a pretty good game. I think it has a lot of potential, and I really, really hope the developers don't do anything stupid. Like, there's been a lot of gacha games lately that start, fuck something up, and then die. I don't want that to happen to Duet Night Abyss. The game has a ton of problems, but I think the developers can fix them all. I think the character issue, it's just going to be a matter of them getting more experience making characters, listening to feedback on what the players want out of characters, and actually releasing them, you know? So I think the character thing will solve itself. The story is really good, and I really want to see where the story leads. I think the story is pretty strong. They just need to make it more cinematic, improve the voice acting, improve the animations in the story, get rid of the black screens with white text, or at least minimize them as much as possible. Oh, I didn't talk much about the world. Well, for right now, we're just in one region of the world, and traversing this one region really sucks. I really wish they would put more grapple points, at least, especially in the vertical areas, so that you can quickly get to one place to another, one elevation to another, from low to high, high to low, without jumping all the way down and then having to make that awkward parkour climb up. So yeah, more grapple points, please. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Duet Night Abyss. It's a pretty good game. Like I said before, I really hope the developers can fix the game as quickly as they can, because the game has a lot of potential. I really want to cover this game alongside Honkai Star Rail and Wuthering Waves on the channel, but I'll have to see how I feel about the game later on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you around. Later.